We learn from what happened so we can do our level best to make sure that car doesn't get airborne. Bad things happen when race cars get airborne.
First time Steve Phelps has been here in the Freak Nation. Probably going to be the last, given him standing next to us for the last 5 minutes. No, priorities for NASCAR. On the track, I get it. But when it comes to charities like this, you've really ramped it up in using the status of NASCAR to raise money for those in need. Is that a top priority for you and the brass at NASCAR?
Yeah, for sure. I think if you think about NASCAR and how our drivers give back through their charities, through the NASCAR Foundation, and most importantly, what we do in the local communities, in the communities where we race, it's important for us. And so, this event, this lunch today for Phoenix Children's is important. It's certainly not the only thing we do. When we went to the Chicago street race, we supported the community there. When we go to Darlington this weekend, we'll support the community there. And we go to Kansas and Bristol and on and on and on. We want to be members of the community, and giving back is an important element for what we do.
How come this was difficult for the series in the past to do this? You guys have refreshed NASCAR since you guys, the Steves we call you, have taken over, and we appreciate that. We are a show, SpeedFreaks, with a female host, a black host, Kenny, just whack host, and it's been difficult for us to get our footing in motorsports. And then you guys come along, and it's like, whoa. This is Americana. How come, whether it's charities or just society in general, it's taken this long? But thank you.
Well, listen, this is our 75th anniversary, and we don't always get it right. But what we are going to do is we're going to be bold in the thinking that we do with NASCAR. When you're talking about the racing itself, schedule variation, the next-gen car, what we do in our local communities, giving back, all those things are important elements to who the future of NASCAR is. And it's kind of like the safety piece, right? And they talk about safety being a never-ending journey. Well, that's what we need to be, not just with safety, but in everything that we're doing. And so I believe anyway, and our organization, that our best days are ahead of us. They're not behind us. And that's our promise to our race fans. We just need to make sure we're putting on great racing. When you go to the racetrack this weekend or any weekend, that the fan experience is going to be better than the last time you were there, because we're investing more money in it. It's important. And it's hard. Lots of competition out there.
Yes, that was actually exactly where I was going. How do you battle the NFLs? How do you battle just outside activities in order to stay top of mind?
Yeah, I think if you look at television, for example, there are must-have sports in television, right, that are getting paid, and other sports that are not. And so you have to compete. You have to compete with a great product. You have to compete by not just nurturing your existing fans. You need to refresh your fan base as well with new people that are coming in this sport. Over the last 3 years, the areas that we have seen the significant amount of growth in new fandom really are people of color and women. And so if you think about that, those two groups are accounting for about 80% of the new fans that are coming to this sport. That's what we need. Now, here's the deal. We're not turning our back on our existing fans. What does our existing fan, what do they want? They want great racing. They want storylines. They want interesting drivers. They want cool venues. We're giving them that, right? They want content that we can push to whatever channel they want to be, right? Shoulder program or social media or whatever it may be. That's what they want, and that's what we're going to give them. And we're going to give the new fans what they want too.
Just a little bit of entertainment and make everybody happy. And it seems easier than it is, but just bottom line, thank you for how you guys have made this evolution work in order to gather more people around. And most particularly, coming here, because I know you want to talk about this as well, the IndyCar NASCAR weekend at the Brickyard has been one of my favorites the last couple of years. I understand it may be going away, but futuristically thinking, how can we do an event, NASCAR and NHRA, or another NASCAR IndyCar event? Is that still on the mind for the future?
So for us, I talked about schedule variation. I thought the Indy weekend was a ton of fun, right? It's so cool for me on Saturday to go as a fan, right? And see, a doubleheader race, but IndyCar, NASCAR, and then another NASCAR race the next day. That's just really fun. See the different cars, see the different drivers and the race teams and the crossover that exists there. I think it's awesome. So yeah, and motorsports needs to stick together, right? So we talk to the IndyCar guys all the time. We've partnered with NHRA to have Chicagoland Speedway, be a part of their schedule. Are there other opportunities for us with those two series or potential other series that we could race on back-to-back weekends or on the same weekend? Absolutely. We're exploring it all because we want to make sure we're bringing the best entertainment to the cities that we're going, and we need sellouts and we need ratings increases, and that's the way to do it.
I heard back-to-back weekend Long Beach Grand Prix. Come on, Kenny. Fill me out.
Listen, this guy's got the best tap dancing shoes I've seen in the history of mankind, man. Steve Phelps, I've got a driver's perspective. I've got the fans' perspective. It's great to have your perspective of what happened at Daytona, seeing that car tumble. I imagine you're just cringing as it's happening. Do you take that accident and immediately start addressing how to prevent that from happening again? How does the executive branch handle something like that?
Well, I will say this. I was in race control when it happened. It's terrifying. Ryan Preece is a member of our family, right? Little known fact, but Ryan Preece was the driver coach and gave lessons to my twins when they were karting when they were 8 years old. So little connection there, but it doesn't matter whether it's Ryan Preece or it's Ryan Blaney or whomever, right? Those two hits that they took this past weekend were vicious. The hit that Blaney took that's scary. And if that had happened 20 years ago, would have had a different result. Not speculating on that, but and then Ryan Preece, we made changes to the Ryan Blaney hit to the front clip that seemed to do its job, right? And I'm sure he's sore, and actually I know he's sore because we exchanged texts yesterday. But with respect to the Ryan Preece hit, yeah, we took that car, took it back to R&D, and we need to make sure that we learn from what happened so we can do our level best to make sure that car doesn't get airborne. Bad things happen when race cars get airborne. They may be spectacular to look at, but we've got to keep the safety of the driver at the forefront. And we will continue to try to use different opportunities and tweaks to that car to make it safer and safer. We will always do that. And you see that whether you're talking about, it's not just the front clip and the rear clip, it's what's happening with their seats, and we've made significant changes working with the drivers and the team on their seats or their head surrounds or their helmets. You have to pull every single lever you can in order to keep those drivers safe, and that's what we're doing. And I'm proud of the work that John Padillac and our safety team has done back at the R&D Center. We invest significant dollars in order to make sure that our drivers are safe, and we'll continue to do that. Hopefully both drivers will get cleared to run this weekend because I know that's what they want.
Do you think the veil of secrecy has been lifted somewhat thanks to the access that we have to drivers with social media, to where you feel like you really need to act on something because of it's prevalent, what's going on within our series or the NFL or Major League Baseball?
Sure. Well, for us, we've got something called our Driver Advisory Council, and we meet with drivers on that. We have a all-driver meeting every 4 weeks or so. Last fall, we had one every single week so we could address the concerns that the drivers had. And so we are fully transparent. I would suggest that the relationship between NASCAR and our drivers has never been better, ever. And early October last year, that wasn't the case, right? And I got called out publicly. I got called out privately. And that I didn't care about the driver's safety. I can assure you I care about the driver's safety, and so does NASCAR. And we are now in such a better place, and it feels good. So it's not just about safety now. Those meetings are about safety. They're about promoting the sport. They're about the future of the drivers and what their careers look like after it's finished. So all kinds of different things that we're working with our drivers, and it's working. It's exciting.
You take car maintenance seriously, and you want to pass on that legacy of care. Use Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer to shield your engine from excessive heat, debris, and friction. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
a difference between you guys and the future is like, okay, we're human, and you guys are able to say, all right, maybe I made a mistake and didn't communicate as well with you guys as I should have, but things were busy, but hey, how do we fix this? How do we fail forward and move forward together? So again, I mean, that's just a difference, and that's you guys, credit to you guys for evolving humanly and evolution-wise with the sport.
Right. Well, I think there probably was a time in the sport where it was like, hey, just put your helmet on and drive. We can't do that, right? That's not beneficial. They're the show, right? And we want to make sure that the guys that are the show and the gals that are the show, they're in their race cars, but they can also help us promote the sport, right? And because no one honestly wants to hear from me, they want to hear from the drivers. They want to hear from the crew chiefs, right? We are. We're we're kind of like the government. It doesn't mean we're not important. We have our job to do, but they're the sport, right? They're the heroes. They're the gladiators, and you got two gladiators that are hopefully going to climb back in their car this weekend. I mean, gladiators. I mean, that's scary. Like, hold your breath. Oh my God, scary. But we do have to be transparent. We have to keep working with our drivers to be better. So we're excited about the future looks like with our drivers.
For whatever you do, General Tire delivers.